Well, for the first time in 5 months, the former CEO of Australia Post has spoken out after she left the company over a so-called scandal involving luxury watches. In October last year, it was revealed that 4 Australia Post executives had been given Cartier watches.
They got watches, a Cartier watch of about a value of $3,000 each.
$3,000 by watch standards, it's not an expensive watch, and these were bonuses for securing a highly lucrative deal called Bank at Post. The scheme saw the big banks pay Australia Post to allow customers to make deposits and withdrawals within its post offices. The deal was worth $220 million, which in a time when its letter delivery profits are plunging was a major achievement. But the reward of watches quickly drew outrage, including from the Prime Minister.
She will be asked to stand aside during the course of this investigation.
And if she doesn't wish to do that, Mr. Speaker, she can go.
It was thunderous from the Prime Minister in question time. Well, now the former CEO has hit back, describing it as the most harrowing 10 days of her career. Ms Holgate takes aim at Australia Post chair, accusing him of forcing her out and treating her like a criminal. In a lengthy submission, she says the chair of Australia Post not only unlawfully stood me down, he lied repeatedly to the Australian people and to their parliament about his actions. Time after time, he's made statements that I had agreed to stand down when I did no such thing. Ms Holgate argues that rewarding employees was not only legal, but celebrated within the organisation and signed off by the board. She also criticised the government's response, saying at no point did either Minister Paul Fletcher or the Prime Minister in their addresses to Parliament acknowledge that the watch reward occurred 2 years ago for securing the largest investment in the community post offices that had been approved by the previous chair. Neither Australia Post nor the Prime Minister, though, has responded. The report from the Senate inquiry is due to be handed down by the end of the month. Let's go live now to our business editor, Ross Greenwood. He joins me here in Sydney. Ross, good to see you. Just quickly on Christine Holgate. She's laid this out in a Senate submission. It's interesting how clinical the details are. Do you think there'll be any ramifications here?
There has to be. There cannot help but be ramifications. Remember, this is the chief executive of one of the most important government assets that they are, Australia Post. The claims that she's making, that the chair lied in regards to whether she had stood down or not, is really important. And then the second part about this is the Prime Minister's actions. If she won't stand down, then she will go. Now, it would seem to me, again, the Prime Minister has serious questions to answer here again, mainly because it seems like he may have overreacted without all of the facts. Number one, that Senate hearing. Let's go back to that. When that question was asked of her about those watches, it was asked by Senator Kimberley Kitching, a Labor senator. This was the unions inside Australia Post wanting to get Christine Holgate. There's no doubt in my mind.
Yeah, right.
And the idea here was, of course, the postal side, as you pointed out, is shrinking. That is unionised. The parcel side of Australia Post is growing. That is non-unionised. So at the very heart of this was a battle between unions and management. There's no doubt. So those watches gave really a focal point. Now, what you've seen is a Prime Minister who's got, if you like, his everyday person sort of pub test in this. Cartier watches equal pub test equals bad. Chief executive has to go, without really understanding what had taken place. In this case, Australia Post was desperate for the funds. It got all of the banks, the major banks, Commonwealth, NAB and Westpac, to sign up to that $220 million deal. It was a big deal. The executives who went in there. I interviewed Christine Holgate on the day that deal was done. She was emotional, almost in tears. That's how passionate she was about that deal. Now, in this case, it seems to me as though, just as he did with ASIC, remember, you've lost the chairman of ASIC and the head of enforcement at ASIC in the last little while over an expenses scandal that turned out they were completely and utterly exonerated, yet they've gone. So as a result, you've now another senior executive of a government business who has gone over something which may have already been approved by the board, in her mind. Now, it's interesting just to see exactly how this one plays out, but what you've got is a major victory for Labor and the unions, because they've got rid of a chief executive, and also question marks for a Prime Minister about how he's treated a senior executive of one of Australia's most important institutions.
Yep, she's been bullied out of the role, and again, it kind of comes down to that cancel culture, which the Conservative side of politics, says it hates so much. Christine Holgate is certainly a CEO that has got a great CV.
Yep.
If only we had someone who was so good at logistics and service delivery at the moment for the vaccine rollout. But anyway, I digress.
I don't think she's going to get the job, by the way, not while this Prime Minister's in the chair.
No, I don't think
No.
so. Look, this Senate submission is clinical, and I think it's pretty classy that she's gone to the Senate rather than, the media, which I'm sure she had many offers to do. Ross, before we let you go,